Okay. Thanks so much for the introduction. And I want to thank Catapult Education for having me on this webinar tonight. We have been working with Catapult Education for a number of years now and appreciate everything they're doing for the dental industry. Like Lisa mentioned, my topic tonight is from Google to TikTok, effective dental digital marketing in 2023. Before I get started, I want to tell you just a little bit about my social practice so you kind of understand my background. We have worked with over 6,000 practices over the last 13 or so years, specifically in digital marketing. So the name My Social Practice started because back in 2009, we really focused on social media marketing. But since then, we've expanded to websites, SEO, reputation management, everything digital marketing. So we kind of cover it all. We really try to practice what we preach at My Social Practice. It's how we built our business. We have over 475 five-star reviews on Google. We have over 118,000 combined social media followers. And we have had 8 dental digital marketing conferences. These are conferences that are specific to digital marketing and to dentistry. And we are going to have our 9th conference actually this year in April in Las Vegas. It's April 21st and 22nd. And if you're interested in that conference and coming to join us for 2 days, scan this QR code here and you can learn all about it and register for that. All right, we've got that out of the way. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a 360-degree marketing plan for your practice. Let me explain what I mean by that. So most of you are probably familiar with the marketing funnel. The marketing funnel has been around for a while, and basically the concept is you take a bunch of strangers and you put them into a funnel, and as they become aware of your practice, they then have interest and they start evaluating your practice. So it comes from a bunch of people that are aware of your practice. It gets a little bit smaller because a number of them will be interested and want to start evaluating your practice, looking online, everything they can find about you. And then from that point, it goes into a commitment. At the bottom of the funnel, you get a number of those people that commit to wanting to be patients of your practice, who pick up the phone to call, and then in the end, you get a new patient. Well, I want to go out on a limb and say the marketing funnel concept is actually broken. I don't think this is how you should be thinking about your marketing. Instead, I want to tell you a couple problems with the funnel. So the end outcome of the funnel is a new patient. It's the bottom line, right? But really the ongoing needs of that new patient aren't addressed in the funnel concept. Also, it doesn't address how the new patient can then help at the top of the funnel in the marketing process to try to convince strangers to become patients of your practice. So instead, I want to tell you about what we talk about, which is the 360-degree marketing wheel. At the center of the marketing wheel is your practice's growth. And it works a little bit like the funnel in that you're taking strangers, you're trying to attract strangers in the beginning and turn them into prospects. Now, once they become prospects, you can engage with them in a number of different ways. This could be a web chat on your website. Could be through social media. There's a number of ways digitally that you can engage with practices and engage with prospects and turn them into patients. Now, even when they become patients, you can still engage with them online through all your digital marketing platforms. And the hope is that as they become patients, you then can delight them enough that they will become promoters of your practice, that their goal aligns with your goal and to try to grow your practice. And when they become promoters of your practice, they can then influence strangers to then come to your practice. So this wheel is constantly going. The momentum, if you continue the momentum of the wheel, it will grow your practice. The advantages of the 360 wheel are the practice growth is the focus rather than just new patients. We're not just talking about the bottom line, new patients. We're talking about growth and how you can get current patients to learn more about your services, and you can grow in that way as well. Also, the patient process of turning strangers into promoters is really the goal. By delighting them, by focusing on their experience and turning them into promoters. So if we go back to the funnel, digital marketing, the way it plays into that is a lot of times practices just think about digital marketing as ways to increase awareness of the practice, that, to have good SEO, to have good social media, to have a good website is only for attracting new patients. Well, with the wheel, the digital marketing is really the force that keeps the wheel spinning. And when you attract, engage, and delight with all the different platforms, there's so many out there that you can be on, it helps to do that. But it also could be the friction that slows down your wheel. So if you're not on very many platforms, or if your website is hard to navigate, or you don't respond to messages on social media, it can also be a friction that slows things down. Okay. So I want you to think of your practice and your marketing in this way, this 360-degree marketing wheel. So I want to give you in this webinar 10 new ideas for 2023 to increase the force on that wheel and to reduce friction. So I tried to really think of, my years of experience in the dental industry. I really tried to think of the strategies you can be using today and what you should be focusing on. And that's going to be my 10 ideas. So my first idea is to update your Google business profile in Maps. Okay. So what is your Google business profile? So when someone searches in Google the name of your practice, your Google business profile shows up on the right-hand side of the search results. This is called the knowledge graph over here on the right-hand side. And it's your basic information. It shows the name of your practice. It shows your address, your phone number, some contact information. And then if they click on the little map, it takes them to the map section of Google. Also, if someone were to just search dentist in Salt Lake City, which is where I'm located, or wherever you're located, on that front page, there's a section called Places. And in Places, there's 4 areas of Google business profiles. The first one is usually an ad, and then there's 3 places right underneath it that show up. And if you click on more places, it would then take you to the map and show all the different locations, dental locations in Salt Lake City. This also is the same if someone were to search dentist near me. It knows the IP address of where someone is searching from, or if they're searching on their phone, it knows their location, and it will show the practices that are closest to that person. So why is your Google business profile so important? Well, they have found that when someone does a local search for a dentist, 10% of consumers say they trust the PPC and AdWords results. So the very top section are ads, right? And a lot of people skip over the ads. They're usually just text ads. But as far as the trust factor goes, about 10% of people trust those. Then if you scroll down on the results page underneath the map, those are the organic results, okay? Organic results are if your website has certain keywords in it, if a lot of different websites link to your website, there's a lot of SEO strategies that go into this to be able to rank in the organic results. But as far as trust goes, about 27% of consumers say they trust the organic results. But the middle section, like I mentioned, is this Places. And they found that 68% of consumers say they trust the Google Maps results. So that's why this section is so important for you to think about. Why do they trust this area the most? Well, this is where your reviews are. And I'm going to talk about reviews in just a little bit. But this is a very important place for you to be able to try to rank in. They found that 92% of searchers will pick businesses on the first page of local search results. And the Google Maps 3-pack, those 3 sections that show up on that front page, they call it the Google Maps 3-pack, they get 44% of total clicks. Okay, so this is where we want to be. We want to try as much as we can when people search for different keywords or search dentist near me, we want to try to show up in this 3-pack. So how do we do that? How can your profile rank higher in the Maps results? Well, this dentist felt like he wanted to rank higher in these results, and Apparently, his only solution to this was actually to rename his practice Dentist Near Me. Now, I don't know if this actually worked for him. He's located in Texas. I'd be interested to actually talk to him to see if he got more people find his practice that search Dentist Near Me. But there is a better way. You don't have to rename your practice Dentist Near Me. You need to understand how Google ranks people in this section. What determines your maps ranking? And there's three things: relevance, distance, and prominence. So relevance first is they try to give you results based on what you search for. So if someone searched dental implants near me or teeth whitening near me, Google's going to try to give that person the best results or the practice that offers those services. Distance, of course, like I mentioned, depending on where you search from, your IP address, it'll try to find a practice that's close to you. And prominence, there's a number of things that go under prominence. This partially is how many reviews you have, how good your reviews are, how many different websites are talking about you. So there's a few different factors that go into that as well. But the best thing that you can do right now to rank better in the map section is to update your information. I'm always so surprised how many dental practices have not even filled out their Google business profile. On Google's website, it says when you complete your profile, customers are 2.7 times more likely to consider a business reputable if they find a complete business profile on Google Search and Maps. And customers are 70% more likely to visit and 50% more likely to consider purchasing from businesses with complete business profiles. Okay, so what does that mean? A complete business profile. Well, the way that you can edit this and the way you can fill out your information, there's a couple ways. You can simply download the Google Maps app on your phone. And if you're an admin over your page, if you've claimed your business profile, you can do all the editing within the Maps app. Something recently that Google did was they changed it so that if you simply search the name of your practice in the search bar of Google, on the first results screen, you can actually edit all this information right there. This is how it will look to you and not anybody else if you're an admin of the practice, but you can actually access all of your settings right on the first page. So I just want to point out a few of the things that you can edit. Obviously, there's a number of different sections here where you can add your information, but let me just point out a few that are important. First, if you just go to edit profile, make sure that you have your business categories. If you're a general dentist, be sure your primary category is dentist. Again, a lot of practices don't have their primary category as dentist. Sometimes I see it as dental clinic. There's only a number of different options that Google gives you, but if you are a dentist, put dentist as your primary category. And then if you have some secondary services that you offer, maybe some orthodontic services, or if you're a cosmetic dentist, you can put those as secondary services. I wouldn't put too many here. I wouldn't put more than 2 or 3. You want to be fairly specific on your categories. If you scroll down in that section, there's a place called service areas. You want to put all the cities, surrounding cities of your practice. In Google, you can actually also see names of neighborhoods. These are names you might not think of at first, but you can also enter neighborhood names in this section. The next section I want to point out are your reviews. Obviously, we're going to talk about this, but you need to get a lot of reviews. But one of the reasons I tell practices they need to get a lot of reviews is because Google actually crawls keywords in reviews. So if someone were to leave a review and say, I got my teeth whitened here, or I got dental implants here, if someone were to search dental implants in Salt Lake City or the name of your city, there's a good chance that review will show up. Your profile will show up because someone left a review with that word in it. Also, Google crawls responses to reviews. So it's so important. Every single review, positive or negative, leave a response. And any keywords in your response, again, if you say dental implants or teeth whitening, those words are also crawled by Google. So please respond to all your reviews. It's just common courtesy. People like to see responses if they take the time to leave you a review. Another section is your services section. This allows you to put as many services as you want underneath each category. So fill this out as much as you can, put every single service. The reason this is important is because, again, if someone were to search water pick or fillings or, dental bridge in my area, I don't know, dental implants in my area, you won't show up unless you have that as part of your services. So fill this out. It allows you to put a little description in it as well. So put as many as you can. The last section I want to tell you about, if you scroll all the way down here, there's an area for posts. A lot of people don't know that Google allows you to post, just like you post on Instagram or you post on Facebook. And you can put custom little posts. And again, Google crawls all these keywords. These posts actually expire after 6 months. Google likes to see that you're active, and they will favor profiles that are more active. So you want to try to consistently post to your account if you can. This will help you rank better as well. Now, let me just show you what this might do. If you fill out your profile, well, this is a practice in Raleigh, North Carolina, VP Dental. So if this woman here is standing close to Raleigh, North Carolina, VP Dental, and let's say they filled out their profile really well and they put all these keywords in there, there's a good chance that this practice would show up second in her results. This man that's standing a little bit further away, if this practice maybe didn't fill out their information as well, and because he's standing further away, there's a good chance that the practice could show up 13th in his results for the term dentist. So at My Social Practice, what we can actually do is we can take your practice and the surrounding area around your practice, and we can tell you exactly where your practice will rank in people's results, depending on where they're standing or depending on where they're searching from. So you can see all these red X's around the practice. That means the practice won't even show up. But as you get closer, you can see 5s, 3s, 2s. That means that's the rank that they'll show up in the results. Okay. So we would love to provide you with a rank report for your practice, and we'll do that for free for you. You can give us a number of keywords that you want to rank for, and we'll do a free report for you. So all you need to do is scan this QR code here and fill out a little form, and we will contact you, get those keywords from you, and give you a free report. I also want to mention at the very end of my presentation, I have a link that will contain all the different links I'm going to go through, all the references. So if you don't have time to scan it right now, I'll send that link at the very end. Okay, number 2, run a Google Local Service Ad, or LSA. So this is actually really big for dentists because this was just released this month, about 2 weeks ago. On Google's website for local service ads, there's a section here that says healthcare, and the only industry under healthcare is actually dentists. And like I mentioned, this didn't show up before. Local service ads have been around for a little while for other industries, but just as of this last week, they allowed dentists to run local service ads. So let me just explain what this means. In order to understand local service ads, you have to understand the difference between a PPC ad and a PPL ad. A PPC ad is a pay-per-click ad. And I mentioned this before. The ads at the very top, when you do a search, these are pay-per-click ads. When someone clicks on it, it takes you to their the website of the practice, and the practice is charged just if someone clicks on the ad. So they could go to the website, or they could accidentally even click on this ad and go to your website and then bounce, and you're still charged for that click, okay? But pay-per-lead ads, you only pay for a phone call or a message to your practice from an interested person, okay? So these local service ads are actually pay-per-lead ads that Google is allowing you to do. And they actually show up at the very top of the search results, even above the PPC ads. And this is how they look. There's 3 spots for your practice to put this little ad. And let me just kind of explain what's in this ad. So if they were to click on one of those 3, this is how it looks. The first thing you see is a Google screen with this green little check mark. And if if you want to become Google screened, Google just looks at a few things. They do a little background check to see if you're a real dentist, if you're a real provider. The insurance requirements is you have to have general liability insurance, medical malpractice insurance, which hopefully everybody has. They'll check your license to see if you have a practice license on a state level and a provider license on a state level. You only have to have one review. So hopefully everybody has at least one Google review. And then the other requirements are just the National Provider Identifier Verification, or NPI. So most practices, this is not a problem. Most practices can pass these very easily. And so once you pass this little test that Google has, you get this little green check mark. And if someone were to click on what that means, it would say that you've been screened by Google, that they have done a check on you, and they have your badge of trust. Okay, so that's the first thing. Also, it will pull in your Google reviews from your Google business profile. So it links to your Google business profile and pulls in those reviews. It says how many years you've been in business. It says the services that you offer, and this is a list that you can choose from. And then it also says the insurances that you accept, which, as you know, is a question that you get all the time. And then there's two calls to action, a call button, a message button. And then this phone number is actually a tracked phone number that Google gives you so that they know if someone calls you from the ad, they know to then charge you because someone actually picked up the phone and called you. Now, the reason why these are so big, again, because this is brand new, you can be the first in your area to run one of these local service ads because it's just launched. Also, it's displayed at the very, very top of the search results, even above the PPC ads. You know, I mentioned that ads only have 10% of trust, but what Google has done here is because they've pulled in some information from your Google business profile and they've put your reviews in it, people will trust this a lot more because it has your reviews in it. So they probably won't skip over them like they might with PPC ads. You're only paying for serious and interested inquiries. So again, with PPC, that might be someone that just accidentally clicked it or, just clicked on it and then bailed off your website. But these are actually people that are interested. And so it's a lot easier to determine your ROI. And then it's backed by the reputation and trust that Google has built. So if this is something that you're interested in, and again, I would highly encourage you to do this. To be approved by Google, you have to go through this little bit of a process. Well, My Social Practice, we were just approved as a partner of Google to set these up for our clients or for people that work with us, and we can get the process done a lot faster. So if you would like to get approved by Google, this is a QR code that you can scan. You don't even have to start running ads right now for this, but we could just get you in the approval process. Scan this code, fill out the form, and we'll help you get approved with our rep. We have a dedicated rep that works with us, and we can get this process done quickly. Okay. All right, next. You all know that this has been one that you've probably heard many times. You need to get more Google reviews. The famous psychologist Robert Cialdini said, we view a behavior as more correct in a given situation to the degree that we see others performing it. And he called this social proof. Well, the social proof of today are these 5 stars, right? This is how people determine if they are going to go to a business or go to a dental practice because they want to see what other people think and the experience of other people at that business. They found that 64% of consumers say they check a business's Google reviews before picking up the phone to call them. Also, there was a survey done about dentists. They asked which dentist would you most likely pick from a Google search? And by far, the top one was the one with the best online reviews. So I want you to think of these 2 numbers, 40 reviews and 4.0 as your average stars. They found that 40 is the number of reviews that consumers require to even trust a company's star rating. So if you have only 5 reviews, people probably think it's just your 5 best friends that you asked to leave you a 5-star review, right? But if you have up to 40, that's when they start to trust the Google reviews. And then your average ranking needs to be at least 4.0. So if you have, a 3, 3.7, 3.9, a lot of times people just skip over that. So the goal is to get as many reviews so you can drown out some of the negative ones and at least get a 4.0. 80% of consumers say they don't trust a business with average review rating below 4 stars. Okay. So how can you get some more reviews? After working with a number of practices, this is what we've seen really works. First, you need to automate the invites to your patients. I used to say only pick the patients that you know are going to give you a 5-star review, but I've changed my way of thinking as of recently. I think that you should ask every single patient to leave you a review. You might get some negative ones, but the hope is if you automate the process, you're going to get more positive ones that will then drown out the negative ones. It's okay to once in a while get a negative review. It shows the transparency. It makes, people don't mind if you just have some negative reviews, but you just need to have a lot more positive ones. Okay. So there's softwares out there that work into your practice management system that automate those invites. Set a reviews goal that includes a team incentive or maybe even a friendly competition between your team members. Just saying something like this to a patient, hey, Carl, would you mind helping us out? We're trying to get more Google reviews. We have a goal of 40. And if we get 40, the doctor's going to take us all out to get our nails done or whatever it might be, right? Also, I've seen practices that incentivize their team by saying, if someone leaves a 5-star review without a caption, I'll give you $5. If they leave a review with a caption, I'll give you $10. And if they leave a review and they mention your name in the review, I'll give you $15. And these doctors or these team members can make some good money on the side by helping the practice just get more reviews in that way. You want to make the process really easy. As I mentioned, those automated invites really help because a lot of times team members just forget to ask. So if it's just automatically going out, that helps a lot. And then when that text goes to the patient, if they can just click on it and it goes straight to your reviews page where they can leave the 5-star review, just make that process really easy. My Social Practice has software that integrates with your practice management system that just makes that super easy. I know a lot of other companies have that as well. If you would like a little downloadable kit that you can use in your office, a printable poster, a goal chart poster, some signs that you can hold for photos, just talking about your reviews, here's another QR code that you can scan and download this little free kit for your office and print things out and use that. Okay, next. Also, I see some questions coming in. I will, at the very end, I will address those questions, okay? Number 4, update the design, usability, and compliance of your website. Again, this is probably something that you've heard before, but I feel it's really important for you to think about. So if you've heard of a website called Wayback Machine, you can actually go to this website and you can check anybody's website and see how it looked over the years from the very beginning of the internet. So I actually went to Colgate's website because I was curious to how it looked over the years. And I took it back to 1996. And this is how Colgate's website looked in 1996. All right, cool little spinning icon there. Then I went to 1999. It looked fairly similar, a little design change, okay. And then in 2000, this is how it looked. In 2008, this is how it looked. 2014, and today, 2023. Okay, so one thing that I noticed over the years is that websites have become a lot simpler, a lot cleaner, and a focus on large imagery, right? People, when they go to websites now, they just want to get what they're looking for. And they just want that first impression, with large imagery and just not very much text like it used to be. But unfortunately, so many dental websites that I look at now are still back in 2008 or whenever this was. And is your website still look like it's from 2008? So some things that I want you to consider when thinking about your website, of course, it needs to be well designed and modern. These are just some of the websites that we have done for our clients. You can tell just beautiful stock imagery or photos of the team, photos of the doctor and his or her family, just that first great impression with large imagery. Next, it needs to have the ability to chat or text. And now when people go to the website, it's not enough to just have a contact page. You need to have a contact page because a lot of people do look for that, but people are looking for a quick way to get a response, whether through a chat or if they could just send a text message to you. That just makes their experience so much better. You already know this, but it needs to be responsive for mobile. It needs to look just as good on your phone as it does on a desktop. It needs to have the ability to integrate all the different types of softwares that are out there for dental practices, whether it's for scheduling, forms, payments. It needs to have the ability to do that easily. One thing that a lot of practices don't consider is just security of your site and HIPAA compliance. Your website actually has to be HIPAA compliant as well. And so some things that I could have a whole discussion about this, but just some quick things that your website needs to have. A notice of privacy practices on a link on your homepage. Basically, this needs to include info for issuing PHI complaints. If someone wants to issue a complaint, your website needs to have that for HIPAA compliance. You need to have secure forms. So when most forms aren't, if you just pull it off of some service on some websites, you need to make sure that it's secure. And then your site needs to be encrypted and a secure site as well. An HTTPS site is a secure site. And then consistent content on your website, whether it be through a blog or consistent updates to your pages. Google looks for that. Sites that just aren't static and have been sitting there for a while, they want to see a site that's being updated. And then, of course, it needs to load fast. You all know how frustrating it is when your site doesn't load fast. This is a great website to check your website speed. It's called gtmetrics.com. You could just put in your URL and it will do a test and it'll give you a number of results of how fast your website is. So we are doing an offer right now up till March 1st of $2,023 off the setup of a brand new website. Like I mentioned, our websites are beautiful, and we would love for you to kick this year off with a brand new website and set that up for you. So if you've been thinking about it, right now would be a great time. Again, you could scan this QR code and for some more information and fill out that form. Number 5, create more unique and branded online content. Okay, so what am I talking about? Online content. There's 2 types of content that you should be creating. The first is written educational content, and this could be through a blog post or a post on social media or a post on your Google business profile, for example. So I like to think of this as a good, better, and best solution of how you can create this type of content. So a good solution, if you were to write something about women's dental health, a lot of agencies will provide content that's been written by someone at that agency that they post to multiple dental websites. Okay, it's the same content, but they post it to multiple sites. Now, this is still good because it shows that your site is consistently posting and consistently is active, right? But it is the same content that other dental practices are using. A better way to do this is to take that same maybe generic content, but add in some specific, unique things about your practice, whether it's just the name of the dentist. You can add in, maybe a quote here and there about that someone says in your practice. So taking generic content, but just adding a little bit of custom content to it. And then, of course, the best solution for written content would be to write completely custom and unique posts. So doing an interview with your hygienist and asking her, give us 3 tips how women can better take care of their teeth, and then writing their response, maybe even including a video, right? This is obviously the best type of content that you can be making. Now, the problem with that, as I have seen over the many years, is that hardly anybody is willing to do this, okay? It takes a lot of time. If you're going to hire an agency to make you completely unique content, it's going to be a lot of money. So most dental practices, they are okay with the better solution in the middle or the good solution, because it's still better than not doing anything for custom content. Well, this got me thinking a little bit. Is there a place in between better and best where your practice could maybe write somewhat completely custom content to your practice, but not put just a bunch of generic stuff in there? And some of you may have heard of this new website called ChatGPT. Now, I'm telling you about this not because I think that you should necessarily use this in your practice, but I just want you to be aware of where content is going on the internet. So this is a sophisticated chatbot that's trained by artificial intelligence that can generate human-like text based on a given prompt. Okay, so just think of it as a very, very sophisticated chatbot. Okay. When I heard about this, I thought, how could a dental practice use this? So I went to ChatGPT. It's actually free. You can create a free account. And I typed into it, I said, write me a blog post about gum disease as written by Dr. Holt from Holt Dental. Include West Jordan, Utah, which is the city that they are in the post 4 times. Okay. And within seconds, this is the response I got back from this chatbot. I'll just read a couple of things. As a dentist in West Jordan, Utah, one of the most common oral health issues I see in my patients is gum disease. Gum disease, also known as periodontal disease, is a serious infection that affects the gums and the supporting bones that hold the teeth in place. It gave some bullet points about what some of the symptoms are. And then at the very end, it said, at Holt Dental, we are dedicated to providing our patients in West Jordan, Utah with the highest quality dental care. If you have any concerns about your oral health, or if you experience any of the signs and symptoms of gum disease, please don't hesitate to schedule an appointment with us. So again, this is written by a computer. This is completely unique content that practice could use to post to their blog. Now, they have found that a lot of the responses aren't completely accurate yet. It's still a new technology. This could be somewhere that at least gets you brainstorming about different types of content you can use. After it gave that response, I said, give me 3 more titles for this blog post, and it spat out 3 more titles. And then I said, write this post as a social media caption. And it gave me this little caption, including hashtags at the end of the caption. So again, when it comes to content creation, it's amazing what AI technology is able to do. And a lot of you are probably thinking that your teenage kids are going to be writing all their reports with this technology. And I'm sure that is the case. So now you know it exists. So now you can check if they're really writing their reports on their own. Now, the second type of content that you will want to create are graphics, mainly for social media. So a good solution to this is to use maybe a generic type of stock image. This is for Father's Day, and it still looks nice, and it's still good to post because it's keeping you consistent. It's better than not posting anything. A lot of times I tell practices you need to be consistent on social media, just because if someone were to go to your social media accounts and they want to write you a direct message, if they see that your last post wasn't for years, they're probably not going to write you a message because they know nobody is checking it. No, they're probably not going to get a response back. So if they see consistent posting and consistent responding to comments, they're more likely to communicate with you that way. A better way to do this would be to change the colors to your brand and add your logo. Again, this might not get a ton of engagement because this is still kind of generic content, but it's consistent to the brand and to the other materials in your practice. And then, of course, the best type of content is personal content, maybe the doctor with his kids for Father's Day, or maybe you take a graphic and you put the doctor's face on there and you say something like, the grill master, he's the best on both kinds of grills. Happy Father's Day to our doctor, right? This is the best type of content. This is going to get the most engagement, and it will really fit your brand, and you get to put a face of a team member on there. Now, again, in the many, many years that I've been working with dental practices, a lot of practices don't take the time for the best option, to take the photos in their office, to create the videos in their office. Some practices do it really well, but a lot of practices are okay with this better solution. An agency like ours can provide consistent posting that's branded to your website or to your practice with your logo on it. But we can also encourage you to post these best types of images and give you the ideas to do that. Well, just like with ChatGPT, I wanted to see if there was technology out there that could find a good middle ground between better and best. So the same company that created ChatGPT, they actually created a technology called DALL-E, and this is an image generator. Okay, so I wanted to try it out. So I put in the type in the section there, I said, make a social media post wishing Happy Father's Day to a dentist. And I said, generate this image. And this is what I got. So we're not quite there on imagery yet. This is I don't even know what this dentist is holding, and something's wrong with his face. But this is how this, hopefully this technology will get better over time, but this is where we're at. So we still need to have the human element to create graphics. My social practice, we have an amazing design team. If you ever have any custom graphics that you want to be made, we'll make them for you. We'll customize them however you want, with the caption you want, with the photos you want, and they will fit your brand. So if this is something that you're interested in, creating custom graphics for your practice, here's another link, another QR code for you to learn more about that. Number 6, you need to have a short form video strategy, okay? When I talk about a short form video strategy, I'm mainly talking about Instagram Reels and TikTok, but there's also YouTube Shorts, which is their version of Reels and TikTok. The reason why short form video is so important is because 66% of people say they prefer to watch a short video to learn about a product or service. 95% of a message is retained when obtained via video, and 84% of people say they've been convinced to buy a product or service by watching a brand's video. So video is very powerful right now. That's why TikTok is so big. A lot of people think that TikTok is just for kids, but the usage is increasing among adult users, with the fastest growing demographic in between the ages of 25 and 45, and mostly parents, okay? So this is not just for the kids. A lot of adults are now on TikTok. This is a crazy statistic. More time is spent on TikTok than all their social media platforms now, and even Netflix. So more people are watching these short form videos one after another than even full episodes on Netflix, which is insane. Instagram Reels. If you're not familiar with what Instagram Reels are, it's basically their copy of TikTok. They saw that TikTok was doing really well, so they said, we got to do this. And so they put it into their app. So you will see, if you're on Instagram, you will see that these Reels are favored in a lot of different ways. They're all over Instagram now. They're favored on the Explore page. So if someone's just looking for a new account to follow, these videos will pop up all through the Explore page. They're being favored in search. So now a lot of people are searching, San Antonio dentist, San Diego dentist in the search bar of Instagram. Well, these videos are showing up in the top row now in the results. They're being favored in the feed. So if you follow a company, there's a good chance that you will see the videos over the photos. This is a good example of a practice in Texas. When they post photos, they get about 28 to 33 likes on their photos on average. But when they post videos, they get 3 to 4 times the amount of engagement. Reels get 22% more engagement, they have found, than photos. And then they just reach more people, not necessarily because it's more creative content, but Instagram is just pushing these videos to more people because they're trying to keep up with TikTok, and they found that this is what people likes. This is what makes people spend more time on the platform. So they're just pushing the videos to more people. So I want to give you a few ideas of what you can do in your practice when it comes to these videos. This isn't just something for dancers. A lot of people think it's just a bunch of goofy dancing, but there's a lot of ways that you can use these videos to advertise and promote your practice in a professional way. One idea is to simply capture a reaction. So let me show this video here.
Ready? Oh my gosh! I have teeth! These look so good! I don't ever want to stop smiling.
That looks so good.
That looks so good. Holy crap. You did so good. I mean, I knew they were going to look good, but these look really good. Wow.
Sometimes a genuine reaction goes a lot further than maybe a testimonial video where someone's sitting there, it's longer, and you've kind of told them, you know, you shine the light in their face and said, give us your best review of our practice. If you can capture a reaction like this, it goes a lot further. Just simply educate. So I don't know if you can see how many likes that this video has, but it's 1.8 million. I'm not saying that all your educational videos are going to go viral like that, but it just shows that people want to know answers to very simple questions that you might think are just obvious. Show a procedure. I like how you can take a long procedure and cut it up and show the steps of how you do something. Before and afters, you know, many of you show on your website a before photo and after photo, but this brings a lot more emotion into it by adding a fun video over it and can be more convincing. Jump on a trend. There's a new social media trend pretty much every day on TikTok and Reels. You can take an idea and apply it to your practice. So that was a trend that went around, that song with the Italian gesture doing that. And I love how they showed how their practice was unique by doing that. At My Social Practice, we have what we call the My Social Practice Academy, where our creative team probably spends way too much time on TikTok, seeing what all the new trends are and applying them to dental practices. Every week we come up with ideas that we send to all of our clients, and we say, you guys, you know, here's some great ideas that you can be using in your practice so that you don't have to be on TikTok all day and you don't have to try to figure out what to post yourself. We also have a whole educational library of content about social media in this academy as well. Number 7, be a creator by building a personal social media brand. Okay, so when I talk about a personal brand, I want to just show this quick video. This is Gary Vee. He's a marketing expert that talks about what it means to be a creator in 2023.
I'll answer for you. Way more opportunity for all of you that are watching this video. Everybody keeps thinking, oh, I missed it. I missed TikTok. I missed YouTube. I missed my moment. Somebody else, oh, I wanted to be the expert on butterflies. This person just popped off on TikTok or Shorts or Instagram. They're the better butterfly person now. I can't do it. Everyone keeps saying they missed it. The expectations for the creator economy is huge, huge opportunities. Every day people building profiles of content on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all these platforms, TikTok, are taking money away from the biggest brands in the world who are going to spend it with you versus running a television commercial, a print ad, a billboard that I'm looking at right outside. The opportunity is enormous. You should start making videos about things you want to talk about, not what you think is going to get views and likes on the platform. Don't dance if you don't know how to dance. Talk about you know.
Okay, so to explain this, let's talk about what a practice brand is. You all know, you probably have a Instagram profile set up for your practice, which I encourage you to do. This is a practice here, Park Ridge Dentist. You can see most of their posts are about the culture of their practice, about the experience of their patients. But there's no real person, one person that people can relate to in this profile, right? So the doctor from this practice, her name's Julie Davis, she decided she wanted to create her own profile. And you can see in her bio, she still links to the brand, the practice's profile here, Park Ridge Dentist. But she's a mom, and she thought that a lot of people could use information about how to take care of their kids' teeth. So she started making videos about that specifically. And you can see she's built her following to 10.2 thousand followers. Some people like to connect with people. They'll like to connect with you and your personality and your expertise, maybe even more than your practice's brand. So this is something that I want you to just consider. This isn't for everybody, but a lot of dentists or hygienists or people in the dental industry are doing this. They're creating personal brands and they're getting a big followings. And there's so many opportunities that can come out of doing this. And if you leave and go to a different practice, you can still take this page that you've built on your own with you. So these are just a few quick examples. I'll kind of go through these quickly of some posts that these personal brands make.
One area that's most neglected in our mouth is our tongue. Next time you're looking in the mirror, stick your tongue out and check. Do you have a little bit of a white coat? That white coat is made up of dead cells, food, and bacteria.
The cost of cosmetic dentistry will vary based on where you live and based on what's available around you. It also varies based on a doctor's experience too. I can give you a list of names of doctors that will do them for $1,200 a tooth. I can give you a list of names of doctors that will do them for $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 per tooth.
Okay, so it's just educating, it's getting personal with your followers, and people connect in that way. So again, not for everybody, but something for you to consider. Number 8, collaborate with micro-influencer patients. The key word here is patience. If you're familiar with influencer marketing, a lot of brands try to go for these big macro influencers that have millions of followers. I want you to start with your patients that you think might be influential and figure out ways you can collaborate with them so that they can post about your practice. So what I would encourage you to do is maybe in your next team meeting, ask your team if they're aware of any current patients who they think have an influence in your community or a little bit of following on social media. Some of the professions could be athletes, podcasters, reporters, photographers, bloggers, musicians or actors, stylists or makeup artists. These professions tend to try to get a following on social media. And then reach out to one of those patients and offer discounted services for posting their experience with your practice and tagging your practice. So this example is actually from my cousin. Her name's Natalie Montez. She lives in Arizona, and she's a photographer. And she's built a little profile on Instagram. She has about 3,500 followers on her account. She's not trying to be an influencer. She just is trying to build her business. If you knew her, she's just a very personable person. People love just being around her, and she's very influential. And so this practice reached out to Natalie and said, hey, Natalie, I know you've been wanting to get some work done, some veneer work done, and we will be willing to do some free work for you if you post about our practice every time you come in. And so Natalie did this, and she did some simple posts just of the process. And here's just a couple examples. I'll show this little video here.
I can't even open my mouth.
when she first sees her veneers and kind of gets emotional about it. And then she said, I ugly cried. Dr. Harmon nailed it. My upper permanent teeth are in. I'm speechless. If you have any dental needs, I highly recommend my dentist, and then tagged Dr. Matthew Harmon. So I saw this because I follow her. She's my friend on social media. So I texted her and I said, hey, how did this happen? Because of my profession, I was curious. And did the doctor get any new patients? Did you get any interest from your friends? And she said, Blake, I can't believe how many messages I've gotten from my post. And she shared some screenshots. Just a couple here I'll read. Hey, lady, I'm on the hunt for a new dentist. My current dentist is struggling to keep crowns in my mouth. One I had fixed last Monday fell out. Is your dentist cosmetology only or all things? This last one here, it says, thanks for sharing your story. I've been dealing with some issues of my own, was so close to going to Mexico until you posted. I've had a frenectomy done and gum graft twice. How is your whole process? Did you have to get any implants or just the veneers? And if you don't mind me asking, what does this normally run? So her friends are asking her about her experience, how much it costs, did it hurt? They're not going to the dentist to ask these questions. They're asking her. And this is just an amazing example. People trust people. Scott Cook, the co-founder of Intuit, said, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It's what consumers tell each other it is. If there's nothing else you learn from this webinar, I want you to keep that in mind. I actually asked my cousin recently at a family gathering. I said, what's the update on this? What's happened? And she said her doctor calls her his OG because she is the very first person that he tried this with, influencer marketing. And since this case, he has had over 30 cases that have branched off from this initial case. More people that learned about it from her and then them posting about it, over 30 cases. And my cousin said she has two friends that before they were married had a full, cosmetic restoration done by this practice. So it's incredible. This practice is growing like crazy. They were opening up a new office just because he decided that he wanted to try to take the risk with the influencer type of patient. So this is something I would strongly encourage you to try. Number 9, collaborate with local small businesses. Just like collaborating with influencer accounts, you can do the same with a small business. Look for a clothing boutique or a restaurant or a toy store or a coffee shop that has a little bit of a social media following in your area. Try to think of the target audience that they're going for. And if it's a similar audience that you're going for, a local audience, you might want to try to work with these brands. So a couple ways that you can do that. Go into the restaurant that's popular in your area and say, hey, I want to do a little giveaway, a gift card to your restaurant, and I want to put it on our social media accounts. And the way for people to enter will be to like the post, to follow our page, and to tag a friend in the comments. This one says, you wish you were having a beer with, or you wish you were going to this restaurant with. And it's just a great way to promote a local business, to tell your followers how much you like a local business. And what will probably happen is that business will see that post and share it on their account as well and tell all their followers about you. This is another great example of a practice, their pediatric practice here in Utah. And they did some collaborative posts with a toy store. It's called Mochi Kids. So the dentist said, this toy store is targeting moms. I'm trying to target moms. So let's try to do a few posts together. So they ran a little giveaway. Here's just a couple posts that they did about the giveaway. All right. So it's a great way. The toy store, you can see, has 33,000 followers. The toy store is going to share about the practice if they have this relationship with each other, right? It's a great way to reach those local people. This same practice also works closely with a local soda shop. If you know Utah, soda shops are actually really popular here in Utah. And you can see this account has 35, almost 40,000 followers for the soda shop. And this is a post that they did about the practice because they have a good relationship with
It's
each other.
Light the World Day 9, and I'm at Happy Tooth. They're our favorite pediatric dentist. They just hooked us up with a ton of toothbrushes to donate to Lifting Hands International. Let's go drop them off. Yes, thank you so much. We've got all of our toothbrushes. Thank you again, Happy Tooth. This is amazing. We're headed to the Lifting Hands International drop box, and if you don't know what Lifting Hands International is, they provide aid to refugees, so these are going to a really, really good place.
All right. So again, that relationship they have, they can do some collaborative things together. This soda shop has 35,000 followers, and they just told all their followers about Happy Tooth, the pediatric practice. So find a local business and build a relationship with them. The last thing, my last tip is a fairly simple one, but I wanted to throw it in. Be a giving practice. Over all the years of working with dental practices, we've found the ones that are giving and that are willing to work with charities and do good on their online accounts, get the most engagement and have the most success with social media and with their online presence. It creates engagement with your community and patients. It improves your practice's culture and relationships. And then really in 2023, social responsibility, ethics, and transparency really matter to the modern consumer. They want to work with brands. They want to go to businesses that have common beliefs as them and share the same types of social responsibility. They like to see practices that are doing good for the community. So I would encourage you to get involved somehow with a charity or do some good in the world. Those are my 10 tips. The last thing I just want to tell you about is our business, My Social Practice, is willing to do a lunch and learn with your practice, buy your practice lunch, and give you a 45-minute presentation about marketing specific to your practice. We'll call you and schedule a time that works for you, get your team in a room, and we'll buy you lunch. So if you're interested in doing that, here's another code to scan, and you can fill out a form there. And then here's my contact information. If you have any questions at all about what I presented about, feel free to send me an email or send me a text or call us. I'd be happy to help you out. Yeah, so I see a couple questions there. The first one says, when you respond to a review acknowledging a procedure that a patient had and reviewed, does that violate HIPAA? It does if you word it in a way that references that it's a patient. So I know it's kind of tricky if someone says, I came in for, teeth whitening or dental implants or whatever it might be. The way to respond to that is not to say, we're so glad you came in. It was so good to see you. But you can say, we love our patients and providing the best service for them. Thanks for your review. So I know it's just small details, but if you're specific about them being a patient, that does violate HIPAA. So just be careful about that. The second question says, does it matter if the review is done in the office? One of the concerns with that is that if they're on your Wi-Fi, if a lot of reviews come from the same IP address and they're on your Wi-Fi, that could be a red flag for Google because it might mean that maybe you're trying to game their system. So it's best to just, as long as they're not on your Wi-Fi, it's okay if they leave the review in your office. Sometimes it's good if you can get them to leave the review right then and there, and then they won't forget about it when they get home. Next question, thanks. What do practices do to get permission to have a patient photo videos posted on social media? So the best way is just to have a HIPAA consent form. If you post any photos of patients anywhere, then you should always get their consent to release the PHI. So we have a simple form. If you go to our website and click at the very top, so go to mysocialpractice.com, at the very top it says free or free stuff. I think it just says free. If you scroll down, there's actually a section for a free consent form. Free HIPAA consent form. It's a free download that you can use in your practice. My Social Practice, we also have an app that you can do it digitally. So you can take a photo with our app, you can send it to the patient, and then they can sign a little form on their phone and give you permission. You'll get a notification if they sign the form, and then you can use it on your social media account. So it makes that process a little easier if you don't want to deal with printed forms. Next question, is it illegal in some states to offer free or discounted care or monetary gifts in exchange for reviews or social posts? Yes, and I would just double check in your area if that's something that you can do, especially in dentistry. Yeah, to offers, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd be very careful about that, just to give something directly in exchange for a review. But that's why we kind of say incentivize your team rather than incentivizing your patients. Even without an incentive, most patients know that you're trying to grow your business, and we have found that they are more than willing to help out if you ask them in the right way. Well, thanks again for having me. And again, here's my contact information, and I'm happy to help.